that to the day today and for the day and able to just focus on musical stuff, which is much more what I'd rather be focusing on than that boring law crap.
Oh yeah. And how long have you been playing music?
I've been playing music since I was 14, and I did hit the ripe old age of 60 this year, so that'd be about 45, 46 years on the guitar.
That's incredible. That's more time than I can fathom. I'm only 26. So.
Well, you'd think I'd be better than I am by this time, but I think I got to a certain place at about 40 or 45, and I've kind of leveled off. I haven't been learning a whole lot of chops. My boy Sam is a lot more advanced than I am, but I'll tell you more about him later.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely cover Blue Avenue and yeah, your Sam's band. I think on the second half. So how many bands are you in currently?
You know, I'm up to 5 flavors of rock now. We've been doing this AC/DC tribute called Soul Stripper for about close to 20 years. Maybe about more like 16 or 17 years ago, we started a Zeppelin tribute called Led Zeppelin. And right around that same time, we started a classic rock band called Sub Vinyl Jukebox that still is going. In the last couple of years, we've chosen 2 more flavors. And the most recent ones are Sweet Child, a Guns N' Roses tribute, and lastly, Leonard Sinner, which is a Leonard Skinner tribute, in which I'm actually singing and not playing a whole lot of guitar. We've got some great guitar players. So in answer to your question, 5 flavors of rock.
And I've only seen one of them, the Soul Stripper, with Johnny Rockstar plays in that band too. How long have you known Johnny Rockstar?
You know, it's funny. I've known Johnny probably close to 18, 20 years. Actually, the other co-founding member of Soul Stripper introduced me to Johnny years ago. At that point, Johnny was doing a Ted Nugent tribute, which I'm not sure if he still does anymore. But at one point, it was probably 10 or 12 years ago, he asked me to come out and be second guitar in his Nugent tribute, which was a lot of fun because I happen to know some Nugent songs as well. So, you know, kind of helped him get through a Nugent show. I think he was down a player, so I was probably just subbing in for somebody. But I've known Johnny a long time, and then when the position came open in Soul Stripper, I said to myself, well, he's such a solid player. He has such a command of the guitar. He's great on stage. He would make a really great Malcolm. Now, I'm just going to say I've had a lot of very overqualified Malcolms in Soul Stripper over the years. As you know, I'm an Angus Young, and Malcolm, while Malcolm Young is sort of one of the songwriting, maybe one of the main songwriters in the band, and as I gather, does a lot of the business work in the band. What Malcolm does on stage is mostly bash out the chords, and they've just got to be good, strong, clean power chords. Well, a lot of guitar players can do that. So it doesn't. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to be the Malcolm in a AC/DC tribute. You just got to be a very good, solid player. And I've had some excellent players over the years in that role in Soul Stripper. So I'm going to mention some cats like Rob Fowler, who's been a Malcolm for me, who does amazing work on the guitar. Dan Benz has been a Malcolm for me. There's been a number of them over the years, but right now it is Johnny Rockstar, and he's doing an amazing job.
And so do you. Yeah, you really play the part. Like you're on the floor, man. Yeah, I've known Johnny about the same time because I went, like, my dad was friends with him. He's worked for with Johnny for years in the stagehand union. So I've went bowling with him when I was young because he had his daughter too. So
very cool.
Yeah. And
small world.
Right. Edmonds, yeah, Shoreline area. It's great. So are you originally from Seattle, or where are you from?
Well, no, I was born in Boston. I spent my youth on the East Coast. My dad was a college professor, so he bounced around from a couple of different colleges back east, notably in Rochester, notably Amherst, and then wound up at Wesleyan University in Middletown, Connecticut, eventually, where he finished his career and spent, probably 20 or 30 years. So I was an East Coast faculty brat, came out in 79 to go to the UW because my parents had met there, and my dad had been out there to get his PhD, I guess it was.
It's a great school.
I had some roots out there, and my mom was from Washington. So I came out in 79, and I've been out here ever since.
Wow. And so how many shows have you been to, or would you say, like, in your life? Or Like you probably 10 shows too.
Okay. When I was about 14, I became obsessed with rock and roll. And on the East Coast, as a youngster, I was able to get to quite a number of shows. I saw just a lot of really good bands, the Cars, Blue Oyster Cult, the Grateful Dead, a lot of really great shows that I saw back east before coming out. Now, once I got out here as a freshman at the UW, I got really serious about it. There was a lot of great concerts up in Seattle happening in 79, 80. I saw Ted Nugent. I saw the Outlaws.
Incredible.
I saw a whole ton of great shows in my time. Since then, I've seen a lot of bands. I've seen the Stones and the Who, and I missed the Zeppelin show. I didn't see them, but I've seen a lot of the greats. And honestly, my obsession with rock and roll has carried so far that anymore the last 15, 20 years, all I want to do on the weekends is play shows if I can. And I try to keep it up. Even in the COVID times, we've come through continuing to just play out on weekends. So, I mean, if you include my shows,
yeah, how many shows have you performed? Like probably hundreds, because you're playing almost every weekend. So
exactly, it's probably hundreds and thousands by this time. If I'm not playing, I'm likely to be hosting a jam here at the house, so I'll be playing anyways, so I just can't stop rocking.
Right. It's like, I'm either recording shows or I'm editing shows, or this just never stops. Like,
Exactly. I mean, if by some chance I'm not playing or hosting a jam here at the house, I'm probably out trying to, watch one of my son's shows or something. And again, we'll talk more about him. He's a real phenom on the guitar. That's Sam Comfort and Blue Avenue. And I want to get several shout outs to him, but anymore, if I'm not devoting myself to my music, I'm trying to help the kids along and do their stuff. So they're just amazing.
Definitely. I love recording like some indie bands and or like debuts of bands just going. And have you heard of Bootstrap rehearsals? Like I've been meeting some bands there too. That's a good practice space.
So, I think I have heard about that. Is that up in King County?
Yeah, it's South Seattle. Yeah, kind of by the stadiums.
Yeah. Oh, great. Well, that sounds like a good place to be. Down here in Tacoma, we have a place where I don't necessarily practice, but there's a studio. A fellow named Shad has a studio on South Tacoma Way, and my boy has recorded there. There are some great practice spaces down here as well. I've been very blessed in that I happened to land on this acre in Puyallup that has a great big shed out back. So, there's room for a drum kit, and I've got 6-7 guitars back there and guitar amps back there, and we've got a PA. So as I mentioned, if I'm not playing out, I'm probably just jamming here with my friends, and we can put on quite a show here at the house if we need to.
Right. My dad has a Hawaii room, kind of a similar thing. It's just like a Hawaii themed, but we jam out there too. Great to music scene in Tacoma. Eric plays in a band as well in Tacoma, right? You play.
Yeah, we've got a really thriving scene down there.
Yeah, like Plaid Pig, some great venues.
Valley, another great venue.
Airport Tavern.
Yeah.
I went to the Plaid Pig and saw some really great punk rock and metal bands just a couple months ago. And yeah, we had a great time in there. I mean, they got a little bit slam dancing, and my girlfriend was a little bit like trepidatious, like, are they gonna come slam over near us? But I had a good time. There was a pretty young crowd, pretty rowdy crowd, but by golly, it was a rocking night at the Plaid Pig. So yeah, shout out to those people. They're doing a great job in that venue for sure.
And you've been playing at like some casinos too. Like weren't you at like American Eagles Casino or something?
Yeah, I've been very, very fortunate to recently get a run of gigs at the Great American Casino. And the man who's booking in there, I talked him into giving me some shows for Soul Stripper and the Zeppelin Band, as well as the classic rock, Skynyrd, and Guns N' Roses. So all flavors. We've been in there, and we're pulling pretty well. It's a big room, and we're trying to fill those seats, So, but yeah, right now I'm honored to say we're at the Great American Casino. I tend to play a lot at, Stockton's in Maple Valley, Flotation Device out in Purdy, Gig Harbor. I used to play a lot at the Draft Choice, and he's going to start. That's in Maple Valley. Sort of Auburn area. He's going to start booking again pretty quick. Where else do I play? We get around Coco Joe's in Algona Pacific.
Yeah, that's where I first saw you guys. Yeah, Coco Joe's.
Coco Joe's, yeah. Bethel Saloon over in Port Orchard is good. Casey's up in Kent is hiring right now. All you bands out there. The Red Dog in Maple Valley is hiring bands. Brother Don's in Bremerton. I'm looking at my schedule now, so I'm cheating.
Oh, Brother Don's, yeah, I've seen some shows out there. Yeah, I'll take a ferry, go see some shows across the water.
Brother Don's has a particularly nice set of staffers and owners out there. They do a great job. So that's a smattering of the rooms that we're in. Count myself fortunate to be kind of coming through these COVID times with intact membership, intact shows, and some rooms that I can still book. And of course, we did lose some rooms during this pandemic. And unfortunately, you know, we've lost some players, we've lost some rooms, but we're just keeping on. We can't stop.
Right. Tim's Tavern. Yeah, that's too bad losing that in Northgate. But have you ever gone up to like a Canoes Cabaret at like Tulalip, like to see a show? Or
it seems to me I had one show at the Tulalip Casino, and it was about 16 years ago, and I got to do AC/DC there and Zeppelin. They hired both bands, and for whatever reason, I've not been back to that casino. But we have played. Soul Stripper's been in the Red Wind once or twice. We've been out to the Seven Cedars Casino out in Squim. So we've had some, smattering of casino jobs here and there. I always love that because, of course, they pay well. And it's a nice, clean environment. And they kind of tend to treat you like a rock star at some of these casinos.
Tomorrow, there's Randy Linder, a tribute to CCR playing 9 p.m. February 11th at Quilceda Creek Casino. So, yeah, I'm going to catch that show.
There's a cat who's been doing it for a long time, very successfully. I know Randy does that. I think he does a Creedence thing. I think he does a number of tributes, and he's been doing it for a long time. Shout out to Randy Linder. He's a very successful man.
Have you ever seen a Randy Hansen?
Randy Hansen is a personal friend of mine, and I could just go on and on about. I'll tell you a quick Randy Hansen story. First time I got to open for him was at the Cedarwood Dome in Fife, which no longer exists. And it was a big geodesic wooden dome, and it had a second floor, and we were playing up on the second floor stage. There's no elevator, so I had to lug my big Marshall. It was actually a Marshall stack. It was a full stack, a one-piece full stack that I was using at that time. And
those are heavy. I know. I'm a stagehand. Those things are, not light.
Hugely heavy. And I lugged it up these long stairs, and there's this guy up on stage, and he's got, lo and behold, 2 Marshall full stacks, exactly like mine, except his grill cloth covers were in better shape than mine. And he's arranging his stuff on the floor. He's got his fuzz face. He's got all these devices. And, of course, it's Randy Hansen. So I got to talking to him. And at that time, I was coming along as a guitar player. I knew how to play some Hendrix stuff. I'd never seen Randy play before. So I had the temerity, I had the balls to say, well, geez, Randy, if you need a rhythm guitar player for a couple songs, I'd be glad to help you. He kind of laughed and blew it off. And we went on talking. And so we do our AC/DC thing. We played our hour and a half to open for Randy. And I got to watch him come up on stage for my first time to watch him play. And I swear, Devin, I almost wanted to just go crawl under a rock or hang my head because that man can out Hendrix Jimi Hendrix. And I was just so blown away by him. And I really am blown away every time I see him play. He just has it down, and he is an amazing person and a very mellow and gracious soul. So, I could go on and on about Randy.
I've only seen him twice, but it was amazing each time. Yeah, I can't wait if he has any shows in the area, I'm going to definitely make it out to see him again. We've had him on the show too, the radio show.
he's so great, and just to watch him play for a guitar player like me, I mean, I learn every time I watch Randy for a couple of seconds. So I've had the honor of opening for him a number of times over the career. Probably opening for him 5, 6, 7 times, and he's always just very warm, humble human being. So I can't say enough about him.
Definitely. So who are some of your musical inspirations for the music you play?
Well, they are myriad, and they are diverse, and they run the gamut mostly of the standard classic rock sort of icons. You talk about Randy Hansen and Jimi Hendrix, for sure a big influence. Eric Clapton, AC/DC, The Doors, Eagles,
Pink Floyd,
Grateful Dead, Pink Floyd, Zeppelin, Stones, Who. These are my icons. These are my meat and potatoes. And I love playing as much of that classic rock music as I can. I've tried to stay updated, and, you try to learn some newer stuff. I mean, there was a time when I thought I was pretty new and hip to be learning Green Day songs. Of course, that's, now not exactly current,
Well, I got to work a Green Day show last year. I was on stage with Green Day, and yeah, they're cool people.
Did you go to that? Wow, that's
I worked the
show with
the
show with Blink 182 and Weezer.
It was not Blink 182, but it was Weezer and Fall Out Boy and Green Day. Yeah,
that's what I meant.
Yeah, I built that show partly. So
that's the one I was at too. That was a great show. And much as I like Fall Out Boy and I thought they were great, much as Weezer kicked ass, Green Day just comes out and cleans up. I mean, wow, just the power. So I really love Green Day, and that's been a kind of a more modern influence than some of the earlier stuff. But yeah, we try to throw down some Green Day, me and my kids and others, and that's always a lot of fun. So I mean, the influences I could name and answer your question, Devin, they're just so diverse. But I was in a Grateful Dead band early in my life. And Allman Brothers certainly is something that I revere. Boston. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. I love it all, honestly.
Do you know Andy Coban? He does a great Grateful Dead cover.
Who's that?
Andy Coban. He plays at the
I don't think I do know.
Blue Moon every Monday, and yeah, Nectar Lounge. More Seattle.
Okay.
So
I've been down to Portland. I saw some Grateful Dead cover bands down in Portland, and I don't know if I can remember the names of them, but there's a couple of them down there that are very, very good. And that's a direction I sort of almost went, but wound up again starting, an AC/DC tribute, a Zeppelin tribute, and not doing the Dead thing. But I like to get on the Jerry Garcia and just kind of, recreate some of those Jerry type solos. That's, usually pretty fun, fairly easy stuff. And there's nothing like good old Grateful Dead.
I'd love to see you play that. Yeah, on your future shows coming up. How many instruments do you play? Mostly just lead guitar or anything else?
Yeah, I'm mostly a guitar player. I do play a little bass. I play a little keyboards. I blow harmonica at some of our shows. When there's a solo. What else? That's mostly it. I mean, I am a singer now in that with the new Skinnerd band. I'm actually doing vocals, so I'm the lead singer. So I'm having to start to learn to protect my voice. So that's my newest instrument. I mean, I've always sang a few songs at maybe our classic rock shows, but I've also always leaned on singers who have kind of a high range, who can do little AC/DC, little Zeppelin, little Scorpions or whatever. For me, that ain't going to happen, but I could get through a night of doing Skinnerd and other classic rock. So what Leonard Sinner does is actually we do 2 45 minutes of Skinnerd, and in the last set we just kind of open up and we let some of our other singers sing. I guess we got who's in that band? Kenny Wood on the guitar, and he'll sing a few songs in the last set just to mess around. And same thing with our bass player Chris Heidel. We might have him sing a song. So our third set is much more open-ended and free form once we've gotten through the serious meat and potatoes, which of course is doing the tribute to Skinner.
And also, I guess you have some original music as well. You've recorded like in the early 2000s, maybe late 90s.
I'll tell you, my friend, back in the day, probably through the 90s and into the 2000s. Yeah, I used to get after the originals. I used to write a ton of songs, used to record them, used to spend a lot of time in my basement recording. Never really got a recording contract, never was really like a recording artist out there, selling albums. But yeah, I've got a ton of originals, and I just don't play them all that much unless, it's for sort of close family or friends, because I've learned that overall, say you're standing in a club, the girls on the dance floor want to hear Pour Some Sugar on Me more than they want to hear my original song. I mean, it's just the way it is. Yeah. So I learned to play Pour Some Sugar on Me,
Well, so many like original songs, I bet you, lying around this country on like scratch CDs and mixtapes that are warped that never got converted to digital. But it's like it's finding those and getting them online would be great sometime.
Well. And at some point in my time, I should probably go back through all of my original material and sort of call a Howard Comfort's greatest songs disc and maybe release it or something and see if there's much interest in it. You never know. That could happen. I am just so involved in the covers and the classic rock. And then again, helping my son, my boys, particularly Sam, who, again, we're going to talk about him maybe a little bit later, but I'll touch on Sam just for a second, again, with Blue Avenue. They are producing songs of a higher caliber than I think I was ever able to write. And that might be because Sam is partnering with a young woman named Princess Ginto in Blue Avenue. She's the co-founder, co-fronter of that band. She's kind of the lead front girl. And she writes the songs with Sam. Well, the thing about Blue Avenue is that they have these great songs. They have this great presence. They're much younger and better looking than I am. And so I'm happy to, if you were to going to play anything during this broadcast, for example, you won't find much of my stuff out there, but you probably will find some Blue Avenue stuff on YouTube. I think the song Sam told me to tell you was like Closer to the Sun.
Or that's his most recent song. Yeah, I looked up his channel, and great music video quality. As a video guy, it's like that. They did a great job with the music videos, and the songs are quality too, top notch. So
they are, and the recording as well. And I mentioned that studio down in Tacoma that guy Shad has. They spent a great deal of time in there. I remember when they were a little younger, they were like literally cleaning floors and doing bake sales to raise the money to record in a really good quality studio. So they've developed a relationship with Shad, and shout out to him because he's a very fine recording engineer, and he has an excellent facility down there on South Tacoma Way. So yeah, I can't say enough about Sam. And for any of you listeners out there who do want to hear some quality new rock performed by some younger up and coming artists, why I strongly recommend Blue Avenue. They are producing some fine stuff. And now I'll bring it back around here. I'll circle the wagons to say that Princess Ginto is now singing also in Sub-Vinyl Jukebox. She has an amazing voice. She's only 19, so we kind of have to sneak her into the clubs, But she has just this incredible voice, and she can sing the heart. My gal, Renee Perez, who also sings in Sub-Vinyl, is an amazing singer, but she doesn't have that high range to sing like Ann Wilson. Well, that's no problem for Princess. So between Renee and Princess and my bass player, Kenny Wood, who's in Sub-Vinyl, we've got some great vocals in that band. And we can go out and knock out just about anything as far as classic rock. And so we really enjoy that.
That sounds like a lot. That's a ton of fun. What age did you start teaching your son music? Or
my boys were about 1 and 3 or 2 and 4 when I thrust little guitars or mandolins into their hands, or little, some kind of little stringed instruments. Now, simultaneously, they did get going on kind of Suzuki method violin at about the age of 5 or 6, because I wanted them to have some of the same upbringing and training that I had. I was more or less made to play violin by my mother from age 6 to 14 or so. The different experience that my kids had was that same thing. They were asked to do the Suzuki method for as long as they could tough it out, which is probably 4, 5, 6 years. But simultaneously, I was also schooling them on the guitar right straight along, so that they wouldn't have any shortcomings. And I think that may have made a difference. I always get to blame my mom that I was kind of a late bloomer on the guitar, because I really didn't even have one until I was 14 or 15. And I think if you're going to be a guitar player nowadays, you probably need to get one when you're about 5 or 6.
Totally.
So.
Yeah. My parents, everyone should learn a little guitar, and then, you pull out like a micro guitar, very young age, playing music, pretty much daily, around my parents' house. So, and piano and keyboards, forced to do lessons.
You were raised in a very cool house, Devin.
Right. It was a mini zoo. We had lots of pets. You have any pets as well, or?
I wish we were on video. I would show you our little Siamese cat, whose name is Bon Scott. I did a live stream interview yesterday with a woman named Joyanne Lazarette, and her Facebook site is called Matured Musician. So I think it's on that. And then my buddy Donald Malador also recorded it and live streamed it on his page. So you can watch me. You can watch me for an hour on that one, and I was able to display the cat around, which was really cool. So.
That's awesome. That's a funny name for the cat too. Have you seen the Beatles Get Back documentary yet?
I've watched a couple hours of it. I need to watch all of it. It's pretty addictive.
It's great. Yeah, I've seen it. really good documentary. So, and you've seen Spinal Tap, of course.
Oh man, I could probably quote you almost chapter and verse of Spinal Tap. Don't even look at it because it's not to be played, right? Don't look at it. But this one goes to 11, right? Yeah, we have a lot of fun with Spinal Tap around here.
I feel we can make like a Spinal Tap sequel and turn it up to 12. This
one goes to 12. That's brilliant.
Yeah, and have like Seattle area bands.
I love it.
So that man, if I ever had production level money, that would be great.
I think they did a sequel, and it wasn't quite Spinal Tap. It was like they called it A Mighty Wind, which is kind of.
Oh yeah, I've seen A Mighty Wind. It's good time too.
I didn't think it was good, but I think a lot of people felt like it wasn't quite the sequel they were expecting or something, But no, that's good stuff. Nothing but mad props for the guys in Spinal Tap.
So I'm being told we have to take a quick break. Can we go to break with some of Blue Avenue's music?
Please take them out with Blue Avenue. Sam says to play that Closer to the Sun or whatever that one's called off their new album. I know it's good. I've heard it a number of times. It would be a great break outro.
Yeah, it came out like 4 months ago, and yeah, it's got some quite a few views. So that's fantastic.
Sweet.
Yeah, we're gonna head out soon, but when we get back, we're gonna have some more Howard Comfort, and definitely stay tuned to KKNW. And if you haven't joined the Viva ENT Talk Rock and Soul Facebook group, please do it today.
Right on, man. Well, it's such a pleasure to be here. I'll just sit tight and wait through the commercial break, and having fun talking with you, Devin. I'll be right here.
Fantastic.
There's a first time for everything. Do I take it or leave it? It's up to me. Maybe just one time or 2 times is counting. What's there to lose?
All right, we are back on Viva ENT, Rock, Pop, and Soul. I'm your host today, Devin the Dude, filling in for Johnny the Capo. We got Howard Comfort on the line and Eric the producer in the studio. All right, we're talking about Blue Avenue, Sam Comfort's band.
Yeah, and the thing that's so interesting that I think the listeners might get a kick out is this. Blue Avenue will continue to exist, although these kids are now college age. And in fact, my boy, Sam Comfort, has gone off to Belmont College in Nashville. He's trying to, pursue his musical dream in Nashville and meet some players and get connected with some folks down there. And whereas Princess, the other more or less principal songwriter in Blue Avenue, she's going to be going off to Berklee College. I think that's, College of Music, San Francisco or LA, somewhere down in California. She's going off in the next fall. So this year she's been around. That's why she was available for me to snatch her up and see if it was okay for her to sing some classic rock for us. And that's just been really magical because she's already been family. She's been over here so many times. The kids have practiced in my shop as well as other places. And we knew her so well. She'd already I had appeared for Blue Avenue. I think we had already got her up on stage for Sub Vinyl before. And then when Sam comes back on break, as he just was, he played at like 4 or 5 Sub Vinyl shows along with me and Princess. I'd either hand him the guitar or we'd go on extra guitar. And so that's just a joy. And I'll shut up about Sam soon, but I'm going to just say this. The kid learned some chops that I will never be able to learn because I don't have this kind of finger positioning and musical theory and stuff. So he's much better trained on the guitar than I am. And that's why his playing shows it. I mean, he can do that kind of Satriani or Eric Johnson kind of playing that's a little challenging for me. So you get the idea about Sam and Princess. They're just amazing kids.
And he's going to Nashville, which that's the heart of a lot of music in this country. So he'll learn a lot at Belmont. He's trying to, you know what degree he's trying to get, or like a music degree?
Well, yeah, he's working on music and business, and he kind of has a business plan. It's a little diffuse right now. I think he's got to narrow it down, because right now Sam wants to come to the Northwest and start up a big music world where you can record and get lessons and maybe have a performance space. And so his business plan is very diffuse. I think he's going to have to consolidate a little bit, but obviously he has big dreams and a lot of ideas. And but I think he's lighting it up in Belmont. In fact, he's got a couple bands that he's working with down there already.
Well, man, I'd like to collaborate with that when he comes back, before he's on stage at Climate Pledge Arena. Have you been to the new arena yet? Seen any shows?
No. Which arena is that, Devin?
You know the Key Arena, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's the Climate Pledge Arena. It's revamped, remodeled. They put $1 billion into it, and it looks nothing like the Key Arena. It's really nice.
I did not. I'm so out of the loop, I guess, down here. I didn't even know any of that. That Key Arena, I remember that's the place where I saw some of those shows back in 79, 80, 81.
Wasn't the Coliseum back in the day before Key Arena? It wasn't like the Coliseum?
It was either the Coliseum or the arena or both. I want to say there was two. Was it two separate venues, or was it all one? It all blends together a little bit. I know there was both a Key Center Arena and a Key Center Seattle Coliseum. I know I've been in both. I know I've seen concerts in both. The question is it all one venue? And I don't know.
Well, I recommend it. I saw Joe Coy there a few weeks ago, and I've seen 3 shows there now, and it's a good time.
Sounds excellent. Well, I got to get out and see some national shows. The most recent big show I guess I saw was the Black Crowes at the White River Amphitheater.
That's a good show.
That was just a couple, 3 months ago. I had never been to the White River Amphitheater, and I was very impressed. That's a nice venue. And the Black Crowes certainly put on a hell of a show.
And that's where Pain in the Grass plays. And it's a good spot. Seen a couple shows out there. So were you out in Seattle in the 90s? Like we've been talking through the years. We're up to 1994 on our chronological order of the top hits. What was that like being here with the grunge scene? Like,
absolutely amazing. Now, by that time, I had actually moved down to Tacoma from Seattle in '86 to go to law school. And I went to law school at a place called University of Puget Sound School of Law, which has since been sold to Seattle University. So UPS doesn't have a law school. But I moved down here at that time to go to law school. And so I was a little bit immersed in my studies between '86 and '89. I did have to work pretty hard on studying law and reading the law for those 3 years. Of course, I was playing guitar and always learning and playing and jamming with friends. But those 3 years between '86 and '89, I was a little cloistered away, getting into the law. Got my law degree in '89. And then I would say my first few years between, 91 and 92 or 93 were a little bit bent towards trying to establish some kind of a professional presence as an attorney. Again, playing all the time, but I did have to put a fair amount of effort into that. Now, you start getting into 94, 95, 96. I was probably getting a little bit more comfortable as a young attorney, maybe able to start growing my hair a little bit longer, playing a little bit more music, not spending as much time at the office. And trust me, that's been my bent ever since, is growing the hair longer and not spending as much time at the office. I hope my clients aren't listening, because we get it done with our family law that we do. But man, I am all about the music. And about 3 or 4 in the afternoon, I just want to go home and play or rest up for my show.
Definitely. I'm growing out my hair too. Going to grow it long, like the 80s.
Let your freak flag fly, buddy.
There's a SH80 at Canoes Cabaret this Friday as well. They play all 80s. It's a free show on the 11th here. Wow. Valentine's Day is coming up this week as well. So got big plans.
Oh my God! Well, it's coming up too quickly. I guess the next show I've got is probably on the 18th of February, doing Zeppelin at the Bethel. The next night on the 19th, I'm clear out at HD's in Belfair doing Guns N' Roses. So we're all over the place.
Well, I'll try to make both those shows.
What's that?
I'll try to record both those shows. I'll come out with my camera rig. And
you're very kind to offer that. It's hard for me to get out and see as many of my contemporaries and colleagues as I would like because I am playing all the time. But I will give a shout out to a band here in Tacoma, talking about the Tacoma scene. The band is called Rocket. I'm not in that band. The principal players in that band are Kenny Wood on guitar and Tim Hatch on vocals. And both of them just tear it up. And they're a 4-piece. They've got a bass player named Jeremy and a drummer that I've worked with extensively named Doug McNeely is their drummer. So it's a 4-piece. They all know their way around their instruments, and they just do amazing stuff like virtuoso classic rock and some of the obscure classic rock that nobody else does. So shout out to Rocket. I have been out to see them a couple times. They're amazing.
I'll have to find them on Facebook and follow them too.
Yeah, if you get a chance to see Rocket, it'd be well worth it. I'm going to give a further quick shout out. There's going to be some jams starting on some Saturday nights at a place called Rumors in Tacoma.
Oh, yeah, Spanaway area. Yeah, Rumors Inc.
Yeah, Spanaway area, exactly. And my buddy Eric Asplin is going to be holding the reins on the jam. I think the first night that I'm going to be able to be over there because of my gig schedule is March 12th. I'm going to help him host. And then I got a couple more dates in May on the 7th and 21st. I'll help him host. But, as far as being a jam host for Eric Asplin, he just needs a good drummer, one good drummer, and one good guitar player, and he's good to go,
Wow.
So, we'll be doing that. Also, talking about jams at Rumors, you may know that Lynn Sorensen hosts a jam on Wednesdays there. Have you heard about that one?
I haven't.
Well, Lynn Sorensen is kind of a big dog. He used to play bass for Bad Company, and he has access to some local musicians, real top shelf cats like Manuel Moraes. His drummer Doug McGrew is kind of top of the pops, and so I was asked to host one of his jams as a guitar player. Some of the other guitar players he's had in there have been Chad Quist, Ronnie Lee. I mentioned Manuel Moraes. So some really elite players. So I was honored just to be asked to do a night with him. That was kind of a big deal for me, and I'm hoping they ask me back. But yeah, Lynn's kind of a big dog, like I said.
Wow. And do you know a Guy Johnson band? Like, have you ever seen him?
That name is ringing for me, but I'm not sure if I've seen them. What are they all about?
Oh, he plays. He can play pretty much any song. He's a great tribute guy, and he sometimes plays solo or with. He's got bass player and drummer. And, yeah, and
is he Seattle or Tacoma?
He's more north, but he comes down to Edmonds or he plays at Tulalip sometimes. So.
Okay. Well, I will say, I sometimes feel like I'm able to some extent, keep my finger on the pulse of the Pierce County scene. But I will admit that, you get up into King County, so many great players, so many established bands, so much history, so many layers of just awesome musicianship. And you turn over another rock and there's another 3 amazing guitar players, so Seattle, it is pretty awesome, but I almost feel sometimes overwhelmed by the amount of people and musicians up there. It's like, what?
Oh, sometimes there's so many shows, on one night, it's like, I got to pick 1 or 2. It's like it like a roulette wheel out of like, okay, which one am I shooting tonight?
Yeah. I mean, down here in Pierce County, I almost feel like I'm somebody that people know about. But up in King County, you're not going to find a whole lot of people that really know who Howard Comfort is. Honestly, I guess I got a few fans up there, but
Did you ever?
Pierce County's kind of a manageable. It's kind of more of a manageable scene down here. Now, what with COVID, we lost some of the clubs, so there's even fewer venues to play. So it's like, well, man, we got to start rebuilding this scene here. So let's go.
I know. I'd love to build a venue myself. Like, that'd be great. And I'll have like the lessons thing, kind of like what your son's plan is too. Just have it all like a center for music. We need more of those.
Well, you know what? That does sound pretty good. And when you think about it, that is a very appealing prospect. And I hope that I hope those studios and projects with all of their different machinations come true for you and for my boy Sam, and I think they will. It just takes hard work, a lot of drive, a lot of connecting with a lot of people, and a lot of just upbeat conversations. And Devin, I think you got it in you. You're a very positive force to be reckoned with, and I know you could do it. Something like that sounds like it'd be right up your alley.
And definitely advocating for music in schools too. We need more integrated arts funding for Seattle schools and really schools around the country too. So,
no question. We need to feed the kids the tools to be able to make music at a reasonable age, so that they don't miss the boat on some of this stuff. Because sadly, if you haven't been taught some things, you can get up to a certain age of maybe being a teenager and think to yourself, oh, I could never do that because these other kids are so far ahead of me or something. And then people can wind up missing the boat. And that's sad. So we do need to make sure that, no child gets left behind, I guess you could say. And certainly musical instruction. Not only that, but I'll just go on and say, anytime that people are making music, it's a vibration that vibrates in their souls and in their bones and in their selves, and it's healing and it's healthful and it's necessary for growth. So I think we should all be teaching our kids music probably every day.
Yeah, it looks like art decorates space, but music decorates time. So definitely stick with you.
That's a good way to put it.
So are you left-handed? I'm left-handed. Or do you play right-handed?
I'm not. My boy Sam is a lefty, and I'm a righty, and that's the only thing that complicates, me getting him up on stage. I would just hand him my guitar, which he actually can play a right-handed guitar, but he's much better on his lefty. So he usually brings out his Riggio. I'm going to give a shout-out to Joey Riggio, who's a luthier in Tacoma who makes amazing instruments. I have not been able to afford to buy any for myself. I usually play PRSs or Gibsons, but Sam's got this cool Riggio. So he just straps that baby on, and I just hand him the lead in, and he either takes over for me or just supplements what we're doing. But no, I'm not a lefty. They say left-handed players are maybe the most brilliant of all. What do you think?
Oh yeah, like Randy Hansen, he plays like upside down and backwards. I play usually right-handed guitar, but yeah, I can either flip it over and play left-handed or just left-handed. I have a couple left-handed guitars too. It's
yeah, you're definitely getting into a realm where it's starting to boggle my brain. I don't understand how you do it. I don't understand how my boy Sam does it. I don't understand what Jimmy used to do, but this is the magic and the mystery.
So are you a bigger Elvis or Beatles fan?
Well, I am a huge Beatles fan. Now, did you say
would you say Elvis or Beatles?
Oh, Elvis. Yeah, bigger Beatles than Elvis. Now, in my later career, I have discovered that I really, really do like Elvis more than I thought when I was a kid. I was raised on the Beatles and the Stones, and they just have a devout worship for the classic rock pantheon. Elvis, as a kid coming up, I knew I liked those rock songs, but I wasn't as into his slower love ballads. Now, as an adult and a more seasoned guy, I want to give another shout out here. There's a fellow by the name of Steve Unger, who's a friend of mine he's from Pierce County. He plays bass with Metal Church. He's an international rock star. Of course, they're worldwide. And he's kind of, down here in Pierce County, it's a little bit of a smaller pond. The big fish are Randy Hansen, Steve Unger, Jerry Miller, and a few others.
Like Robert Cray.
Ronnie Lee. There's a couple others. But the thing about Steve Unger is that he also does an Elvis tribute, and it's called the Live 85. And the concept is they'll do some just standard Elvis stuff, but then they'll do a set of Elvis. If the King were still alive in the year 1985, what songs would he be doing? Well, I saw Steve on Facebook the other day singing Bridge Over Troubled Water, a la Elvis. And the tone was just so spectacular, and his stage presence and the suits that he wears. So anyways, I'll shut up about Steve.
That sounds like a great time, though. Great combo.
He's just so fun. Yeah, everybody loves him down here. And he is indeed a worldwide rock star. No question.
And do you know Danny Vernon? He does an Elvis tribute as well.
I think I've heard of him. It sounds like I should know him. I think he's been doing it for a while, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. Yeah, we want to bring him on the show sometime. And
cool.
We'd like to bring your son on the show too.
And I don't think I've seen his show. There are some great Elvis tributes out there. Again, I mentioned Steve having one. I know in Vegas there are a number of them that are really good. That's a very popular tribute, obviously.
And do you ever go up to like San Michelle Winery in Woodinville?
I've been up there once, and I don't even remember who I saw play. I know I saw some concert up there many years ago. Nice facility.
Yeah, I work up there in the summers, and yeah, it's a great spot. Like Mark Knopfler, and first concert I worked there was John Fogerty. So great time.
Man, oh man. Well, I'm a big Dire Straits fan. I saw Knopfler and Clapton side by side on stage in, I guess it was the Tacoma Dome, and I'm not sure if I know what year it was. It was probably the 90s. But I remember watching Clapton and Knopfler sort of dueling it out in their remarkably different styles. In some ways, I thought Knopfler got the better of it, but they both are just incredible musicians.
That sounds like an incredible time. Like the Blues Brothers. You're a big fan of the movie The Blues Brothers too?
Oh, absolutely. I've watched that over and over. That's another one that I could probably almost quote you chapter and verse of. But I'll tell you my connection to the Blues Brothers, the reason it's near and dear to my heart. When I came out in '79 from the East Coast to go to the University of Washington, I landed in a fraternity. That fraternity was Delta Tau Delta. The Delta Tau Delta boys were quick to inform me that the movie Animal House, that had just come out in '78 and was then popular, very popular, was based on that the Animal House was a Delt house. And in fact, if you watch that movie, you'll see that they referred to them as the Delts. Well, we were Delts, so we're like, we're the Animal House. We're going to party as hard as that house. So we kind of tried to model ourselves to some extent on that movie.
Did you wear togas?
We had the stoners, we had the jocks, we had the eggheads, we had some pretty girls. We threw some mean parties, but I was just learning to play my guitar, so I couldn't really entertain quite yet. You know what I mean?
Wow, that's really. I didn't realize that. Yeah, you were in the real Animal House. Explains a lot.
Well, we tried to get as crazy as any of the other houses. We would go up on the roof and shoot water balloons at other frats, as everybody did it. Everybody had a funnellator on their roof of their house. We would shoot water balloons all over the U District. I think we had to stop doing that when somebody got hit in the head or hit in the eye or something like that. But crazy, just crazy, mad, fun partying that sometimes got a little too out of control. But hey, we were 18 or 19. What can I say?
Wow. So we're down to our last few minutes. So any shout outs?
Who have I not shouted out? I want to shout out to all the members of all my five bands. Some of my drummers, just a smattering of the drummers that I work with. Kevin Sibley, Dean Holmes, Doug McNeely come to mind. Chris McCone, another phenomenal drummer. Malcolm Monaghan. Some of my bass players that I work with, Chris Heidel, amazing bass player. Barry Lober. Some of the other guitar players, again, that I work with, Kenny Wood principally comes to mind. Bobby Randolph comes to mind. Just some great, silky, smooth players I have the opportunity to work with. I've mentioned some of the girl singers, particularly Renee Perez, who is the love of my life, and my secretary assistant singer in Sub Vinyl Jukebox. One size fits all. She does absolutely everything. She is amazing. And she wasn't really singing so much on stage until she got with me 3-4 years ago. So I have been able to kind of put her on stage and do some things with her. And she's teaching me some things too, as it will happen in a lifelong journey.
Learning new stuff every day.
Yeah. So biggest shout out to Renee, and then shout out to Sam and Princess again in Blue Avenue. All those other players I mentioned, all the club owners that have helped me. I'm going to shout out to Craig Bierman, who is a promoter. He's a biker. He is in with the biker organization. I don't know whether it's Amigos, Banditos, what club we're talking about. I don't care. He's in with the bikers, and he's putting me on stage with the Hells Bells on August 19th this summer down south at a party called Beer Man's Barbecue. So huge shout out to Craig Arrowwood, first and foremost promoter for me, always.
Excellent. We should go out with another Blue Avenue song. I'm thinking Stay. Would that be all right?
Hey, that sounds good to me, boss.
And before we go, I got to mention the Viva ENT Talk Radio, Rock, Pop, and Soul group on Facebook. Over 1,350 members and big fans of music. Also, Devin Creisler Studios on YouTube, 1,100 subscribers and over 1,400 videos and growing by the day. So thank you for listening to Viva ENT. Howard, we're going to have to bring you back on sometime, talk more, and maybe bring your son on too.
Anytime. It's been a real pleasure, and I just appreciate you very much. And yeah, I'll see you out of the show one of these weekends, buddy.
Yep, definitely. Well, take care, and thanks for listening, everyone.
Thank you so much.
So please stay. Don't leave me in the dark. I don't need to lead you on. 'Cause after all, each again can quietly sound my name. Found your secret to the light, and now I've left you out to dry. 'Cause I want you to feel what I feel, and know it's so hard to choose. So let me help you attempt to prove me wrong. So please stay with me. Don't leave me in the dark. I don't mean to lead you on. 'Cause when I'm watching you break